So welcome to the final afternoon of the Global Symposium Conference. And I'm about to introduce to you Anton Miroshnichenko. He's helped me about 5 times and I still haven't got it straight. Anyway,
no problem.
Here's Anton, and he's just a pure delight. Anton found the Urantia Book in 2005 while working in a bookstore. Good place to find it. The book immediately attracted him, and he read it completely within a few years. His first international Urantia friend was Mike McIsaac, and I'm sure many of you in this room know him, and many of you who may be streaming also know Mike, from Sweden, who introduced him to other readers from the Ukraine. As a result of their combined efforts, in December of 2010, the Urantia Association of Ukraine was established in Bila Tserkva, the largest city in the Kiev region. In 2011, at the invitation of UAI, Anton attended the Chicago Leadership Symposium and met an international community of Urantia Book readers for the first time. This was a tremendous and transforming experience for him.
Really.
For several years, Anton served as president of Urantia Association of Ukraine and as membership chair of UAI. With the help of his Ukrainian friends and readers, during that period, they were able to set up the supply and sales of the Urantia Book in Ukraine directly from the foundation. Today, Anton continues to be in contact with the local and international readership. He serves as Urantia Foundation's local contact person for new Russian-speaking readers. And I can attest to Anton's curiosity and searching, because last night at 3 in the morning, he woke up, came in and found some books and read, rather than going back to sleep. So welcome to Anton.
Thank you so much. I will try to be short because I have a lot of things I want to tell you. First of all, thank you very much. Thank you, Foundation, for inviting me. It is really a big deal for me to be here. I dreamed about this, I think, for many years. And the main thing I want to share with you and to share with somebody who is watching us, it's Urantia people. It's a really big family, and I feel like I'm home here together with you, together with a family, and this family is a very important feeling for me, and I know for you, for everybody. So I think we must share it with other readers locally. It's important. So I will start. I will speak about Ukraine, and I have 3 parts. Ukraine religion about Ukraine, and culture in Ukraine, and the next one will be Urantia promotion in Ukraine. So the first one, you know, Ukraine is a multinational, multicultural and multi-confessional state. There are religious organizations in dozens of religions, mostly Christian, and more than 100 denominations totally. The most numerous networks of communities has traditional, historical for Ukraine religious denominations whose religion's practice is well known and has already become an element of social culture. It is Orthodox Christians and Greek Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, then Protestantism, Baptism, Adventism, and Pentecostalism. Thank you. And we have minority is traditional, but not numerous, but historically rooted in Ukraine, Judaism, Islam, and others. During the past 3 decades, unrecognized religions and trends historically inherited in other societies, as well as neo-religions have emerged in Ukraine. So I want to mention that there is a complete freedom of religion in Ukraine. The content of of the right to freedom of thought and religion is determined directly in the Constitution of Ukraine. So here is statistics for the, I guess it will be 2016, not the last year, but something, yes, January 1st, 2016. There were 35,000 religious organizations in Ukraine for this date. Religious beliefs of Ukraine are dominated by Christian religions and churches. It's 97% of the general religious network. You can see that most of all is Orthodox Christians, and then Catholic Christians and Baptists. Yes. So in your papers you have detailed information. If you want, you can check it out. Ukraine right now ranks 11th place in the religiosity of the population of 34 European countries, according to a study of the American Pew Research Center. 31% of the population in Ukraine is very religious, consider themselves as very religious. Europeans are generally less religious than the people in other parts of the world, but even within Europe, there are sometimes significant differences in level of religiosity. The first place in the ranking, here is a picture. The first place in Europe is Romania, then Armenia, Georgia. The least religious is Estonia, Denmark, and the Czech Republic. It's the statistics from internet. I have links in the papers if you want. Yes, it's a level of religiosity of Ukrainian society. Here you can see believers hesitate between faith and disbelief. Atheists don't care and how to answer. It was some kind of survey. See the statistics from year 2000 till 2018. So we have more than half of population believers. Okay. There is a statistics of orthodoxy that before 2019, orthodoxy in Ukraine had no single institutional form. It had 3 numerous Orthodox churches and several small groups. So you see that orthodoxy divided by denominations. It is Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Moscow Patriarchate, then Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Kiev Patriarchate, and Ukrainian Autokephalous Orthodox Church, and then other groups. So the main thing why I'm telling you before 2019, because in the January of this year, it's a very important thing happened in Ukraine. It is a historical event. Ukrainian Church got the opportunity to unite. Ukraine got Thomas of autokephality of the Orthodox Church. An Orthodox Church in Ukraine was created, United Orthodox Church, the core of which was the Church of the Kiev Patriarchate and the Ukrainian Autokephalous Orthodox Church. So these two churches, they are united and form independent Ukrainian Orthodox Church. I will tell you a little bit later why that happens. So today's situation with confessional distributions has changed. Yes, let's continue about other dominations. So, yes, we have a picture when this is a Thomas of the Autocephality. It's a document that was signed by the Patriarch of Constantinople, and this document was given to Ukrainian United Church. It is a historical event, really. So let's continue to other confessions, and then I will come back to this event. So Protestantism, the second place among Ukrainian religions. It reproduces and missionary activity. In particular, the network of religious communities of charismatic trends over the past 20 years has tripled. Charismatic churches stimulate the directing of their members to personally vitality, a visible feature of which is financial prosperity, professional ability, and other stuff like this. So that's why they are so popular in Ukraine. They have a specific direction of development. So you can see here that Protestantism is 30% of all religious organizations in Ukraine and denominations. Then Catholicism, 14%, and another non-Christian confessions. So it is very important to understand the history of religious confessions of Ukraine, and shortly I will try to tell you how everything happens on my short research, because I'm not a historian, but have a chance to research. So this is the results of my research. In the year of 1000, actually 988, the most important event in the history of Kievan Rus, yes, happened. It was the baptism of Kievan Rus, which led to the formation of the Kievan Metropolitanate. Yes, thank you. Since then, Christianity has became the main religion of Kievan Rus. Before that, pagan beliefs were spread on the territory of Ukraine. So we got this from Constantinople, and we baptized the Kievan Rus. From the Kiev, baptism spreads to other parts of Eastern Europe, including the territory of modern Russia. The church at the Kievan Metropolitan at this time is a member of Patriarchate of Constantinople. So we got Christianity from the Ottoman Empire, I guess, yes? Not from Rome, but from Greeks. So there was something happening in these regions. So Christianity, Orthodox Christianity developed, and then another interesting event happened. In 1684, the Moscow Patriarchate appeared to the Patriarch of Constantinople to submit to her the Metropolitan of Kiev, but was refused. So they definitely, in this year, the Russians wanted to obtain the influence on this territory. I mean, in a church field. However, Moscow secretly held as the dean of the Kiev Metropolitan Bishop Kedlin. I'm sorry for my English, but the matter is that there was some kind of tensions, and actually they got the right to influence to this territory. And since that time, since the 16th century, Russian Orthodox Church was influencing on this territory. It was like a Russian metropolitan. So since then, Moscow has considered the Kiev metropolis subordinate to its religion and influenced the development of the religious communities in Ukraine. So we'll follow later. Yes, this is next slide. The slide about the development of the church in the 19th century, actually. Church on the territory of Ukraine. 19th century was a century of prosperity of the Russian Empire. For the church in Ukraine, it was a relatively quiet time. There were many obstacles of the development of Ukrainian-speaking Orthodoxy. There was a development of both Orthodoxy and Catholicism in certain regions. So in 1917, with the fall of Russian Empire, an idea was made to make an all-Ukrainian church cathedral, which would decide the future of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine. So it was, these hard times when the Russian Empire fell, and Ukrainians feel that they have a chance to make own church. But it was not for a long period of time. They actually formed some kind of independency in Ukraine, and it's a time when Russian Orthodox Church was formed in Ukraine. And actually, historically, it was a short period of time when Ukraine obtained its first independence in these years. This first independence was only for a few years, but because then Red Army came to Ukraine and occupied it. So, and Ukraine became a Soviet state republic. But during this short period, it was an attempt to form a Ukrainian independent church. So, next slide. Church in the USSR on the territory of Ukraine. Church persecution in Ukraine began immediately after the destruction of the Ukrainian People's Republic by the Bolsheviks and the occupation of Ukraine by the Red Army. Thousands of church servants and believers were killed, thousands of temples were demolished and desecrated. So it was a really hard times for churches because communist ideology was against everything that connected with God, and they blow up and demolish everything they can do. So it's a slide when they destroy the church in Kiev, actually. Another slide you can see in your papers. So it was till the 1937, and there was even like five-year God-lessity plan. It was officially planned. So they have an ambition to destroy everything connected with the church and completely remove the church from the history. I don't know. But the destruction of religion failed. According to the population census of the USSR in 1937, despite everything, 56 of people admitted themselves as believers anyway. So, next, church in Ukraine in in the World War II. So there is an interesting situation because, you know, it was occupation of Ukraine by the German forces during the World War II, and the place where the occupation was more time, it was Western Ukraine. It was occupied for more time than other regions. When Nazi came, they allowed to have a religion, actually. So it was like some kind of small renaissance in these times, because they don't deny religion completely. And this territory, it was not a part of Ukraine before the World War II. So this territory was a part of Austro-Hungary Empire, and there was a churches there in this part. And after the World War II, when Nazi gone, so we gained this territory as a part of Ukraine with all the churches, with all church infrastructure. So that's why after the World War II ends, most of the churches, I guess from all the Russia and all USSR, was on the territory of Ukraine. So, so there were many churches here, I guess, not distracted by the communists. So let's move further. Yes, it's a funny picture. You see that, you know, that after World War II in USSR, that there was a not so hard pressure on the churches, but all popes were controlled by the party. So it was actually part of the party. Like they have an ID, I guess, something. So you see, it is who is this? Leonid Brezhnev. Brezhnev, he drinks with the popes, and the rabbi of the Moscow synagogue at the right. It's a real picture. So let's continue, and we'll move further to the times of the perestroika. Since 1988, the year of the millennium date since the baptism of the Kiev Rus, Ukraine has begun to liberate itself from the dictatorship of atheism. So perestroika starts, and the religion can grow again with the perestroika times. With the beginning of the perestroika, it was allowed to conduct worship. There was a great interest in the church in the society. Since then, Ukraine has moved away from the policy of controlling religion and gives the freedom of confessions. Church renaissance begins. Churches are beginning to open, priests are allowed to hold the public lectures, open seminars and theological academics. The Greek Catholic Church and the Ukrainian Autocephalous Orthodox Church are being restored. Other religious movements are emerging and restored. And a significant event occurred in 1990. It was the fact that the Russian Orthodox Church allowed the founding of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within the right of the broad autonomy, but still dependent from the Moscow. So we got some kind of autonomy, Ukrainian Orthodox Church these times. It's an interesting picture that illustrates the religious boom in Ukraine. I found it specially for you because you know, it's an interesting scene when we try to speak about something new in religion with people in Ukraine, something new like Urantia Book. So when I go and tell somebody, oh, you know, Urantia Book, what is it? It is something new. Oh, it's a sect. So it's they afraid of sects because in these years we had many sects in Ukraine and in Russia, I believe, as well. So we gain freedom of religion and everything starts growing momentarily. So many fails sects emerged. So it is Maria Devi Christos something sect. I remember when my parents told about this somehow. So it was people in white robes and they were moving in the streets, and you see, they were really hypnotized by something. No, by so people afraid of this kind of things. Another thing like this, I don't know what is this. Is it sect or no? It might be some restoration of the pagan rituals, but and this is a picture in cinemas. So it's interesting phenomenon because we had the cinemas in Soviet Union cinemas, and then when Soviet Union falls, all cinemas were closed because no money and no films and nothing. The cinemas need to live something, so they rent a place for anybody, and religious organizations start to rent the cinemas. It was widespread, so you can see some ritual in a cinema. It's interesting. So religions in independent Ukraine. After the collapse of the USSR and Ukraine's independence, and as a result of the movement of independence of Ukrainian Orthodoxy from the Russian Church, in 1992, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the Kiev Patriarchate, was born. It appeared as completely independent from the Moscow Church. You see that we gain first a truly independent Ukrainian church in 1992, and then there was a kind of movement. Ukrainian Orthodox wanted to get to unite because it was other Orthodoxies, so they want to be united. But Russian Orthodox Church, they don't want Ukraine to have its own independent church. So, and it was like old song. So with the times they wanted, but don't have a chance. And then this year, actually, after all these events with Russia, we have a tenses right now, very big problems with Russia. So on this wave, President Poroshenko tried again, and he done something. I don't know what exactly. Many political movements. So finally, they got agreement with Constantinople, and they gained this Thomas of autocephality. Yes, and right now, two main churches, Orthodox churches, independent Orthodox churches of Ukraine, they united, and we have first independent united Orthodox Church of Ukraine. So, yes, it is one of the big achievements of the new political powers and President Poroshenko himself. So, because well, let's move further, because I can tell about this more, but yes. So I want to tell you about interesting facts about the religion beliefs in Ukraine. I have some kind of slides. I'm sorry. This is a slide of the. It's represented a temple of Krishna Consciousness Society. You know this. I'm sorry for pronunciation. Consciousness. Yeah, Krishna Consciousness Society. So in Kiev we have a biggest temple among all, I guess, yeah, among Russia and Belarus and Kazakhstan. It is a really big temple. I was there for a few times, and every weekend from 500 to 800 believers and guests gather inside it. During the Vedic holidays, or when the spiritual teachers came to Kiev, up to 1,500 people can gather there. So maybe you was in such places, maybe you don't, but it is fun actually. And as I mentioned, I was there. It is interesting to be there, to see the people, to see what they do, how they attract others. They attract youth by free food, actually. You know, I was a student when I first came there, and some friend of mine said, "Let's go. There will be a free food." So we go, and it was funny. They sing a mantra there, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Yes, and they dance. If you want, you can dance. If you don't, you can just sit and look at the people. And then after dancing, they had a dish for everybody. I think it's not vegetarian, but they don't eat meat. I don't remember fish as well, as I guess. They try to live healthy life, and this attracts many young people. Yes. Another thing that I want to tell you, but I don't have a slide for this. You can. Now I want to show you. It's another interesting community in Ukraine, the community of Mormons. Yes, a temple of Mormons. You know, Mormons, they build such huge temples. So we have one in Ukraine. It is really big temple. Maybe I can show you first. Mormon temple, Ukraine, Kiev. I'm sorry. Yeah, here it is. It's really huge and impressive, especially for Ukrainians. It is built near the big road, and many cars are moving there. And then when you move there, you see, oh, what a huge building. They had very nice inside decorations there, very many white stones, you know, everything. And as for me, it is very interesting phenomenon, especially for Ukraine, because I have a few notes here. Mormons always turn to Heavenly Father. They pray to no one but Him, neither Jesus, nor the Virgin Mary, nor the saints. Mormons believe that God is a specific person, eternal, perfect. But they believe that He can only be somewhere in one place. It cannot be around the cosmos, like, say, a large gas cloud. They believe that He can be...
Turn off your internet to the Mormon.
Yes. He can be only in one place. it's very interesting for me because Urantia Book says the same. And the Holy Spirit is the divine without a body, which the they have a similar conception of the Holy Spirit, that it can serve you, and but God is a personality. So we have such community in Ukraine, and they quite famous, and they quite successful because they promote successfulity for you, for the members of community. It's quite interesting phenomenon. So another interesting thing that we have, it's a pilgrimage of the Hasidim. We have the city of Uman in Ukraine, and each year in September it became a center for Ukraine because almost 30,000 of Hasidim from all over the world came to Ukraine, to this small city. So it became full with Hasidim is Jewish people. Yes, they attracted by the grave of the Tasik Rabbi Nachman, a Hasidim prophet. Yeah. They consider it their duty to be at least once in their life at the grave of this saint. And they also believe that if they meet New Year's Day, Rosh Hassan, at his grave, the next year will be very happy. So during the Soviet Union, visiting this shrine was forbidden to them. But now in a small city of Uman, they actually reoriented whole economy of this small city for this week. So yeah, they sell everything to them. Local residents give them their housing and try to earn of this holiday as much as they can. Every year, a large number of policemen and special security agents are used to protect the Hasidim in Uman. So this few examples, as for me, they illustrate that Ukraine is truly supports different religions and can gain an independence to each of them. Another last one interesting fact about the religion, that from 2014 the formation of a new Ukrainian army began, and the National Guard of Ukraine became the first military formation where the Institute of the Chaplaincy was introduced. You understand? Chaplaincy. Kaplan. Chaplain, yeah? Yes. Priest in the army. So right now we have priests in the army, and they serve for the soldiers. Yeah. Another thing that I want to touch, you have more information in the papers, but we have two occupied territories of Ukraine. It's Crimea and eastern territories. So religion of these territories, development of the religion of these territories is not possible right now, except the development of the Russian Orthodox Church. So there is nothing else, nothing, even Baptists is not allowed to be there. So it is a really hard situation with not only with the human rights, but with religious organizations on these territories. And I have a link. If you want, you can have a full report. It's a report of one NGO, Ukrainian NGO, about the situation there. So, yes. In 2017, the Supreme Court of Russia recognized Jehovah's Witnesses, as an extremist organization. So it's a law. So in Russia, it is not allowed for some religious organizations to develop. So many priests have to migrate from the Crimea and from the eastern territories. And also in Crimea there was and there is actually root people. It's Crimea Tatars. They have a Muslim beliefs, and now they are hugely suppressed by the new powers. So they tend to immigrate from there to the Ukraine. So the last I can show you. There. It's one photo of the. It's a photo from this report. It's not mine. It's a photo from official report. So, and this is like religion motivated army. Okay. This is the first part.
It's just not the time.
Okay, I will try to do everything fast. Yes. So, social, political structure, life of Ukrainians. This is a cultural part. So, it is a distribution of household by self-perceived of their home income. So it's basically home income of Ukrainians. You can see from this slide that most of the Ukrainians say that it was not enough savings, it was not enough earned for them even to do savings. This is a part of Ukrainians who made savings in 2016 and 2017 years. And this is constantly denied the necessary except food. So you see that half of the population is living not good but not bad. So important achievements of our political government. You know, after 2014, we start moving towards the European Union. So we have agreement right now with European Union, and many good reforms start in Ukraine. Its direction to freedom, speech, and so on, so on. We had one of the main things that we gain is visa liberalization for Ukrainians. So right now we don't need to obtain a visa to go to European Union. We only need to change a passport. So it's a big deal for us. But we have a failures of the current political governance. It's low efficiently and low efficiently to fight the corruption. So this issue is one of the big issues for the president right now, because he failed to fight the corruption as everybody wanted. So it's like a roadmap to European Union. You see the years here, and we are right now here in 2019. So red is what was need to be done but not done, and green, this was done. It's like reforms. You can see that something was done, something many was not done. So we're moving towards the European Union, but not so fast as we want. So languages. Here you can see how much of the population speak Ukrainian and Russian language in Ukraine. So this is white, or not white, blue color is for those who speak Ukrainian at home. Songs and radio. You can see that much of the songs and radio was in Russian language, and language of journals and newspapers was much in Russian. But But now situation is changing because we adopted the language law that we need to have some percentage of the language on the radio and in mass media. So what foreign languages Ukrainians prefer? The first is English, then German, Polish, French and Italian. You see that almost 90% of Ukrainians knew English, good or bad, but can speak free only 19%. Yes, knowledge of English is essential for finding good job. So if you want to have a good job, you must speak English, definitely. And we teach English in schools from the beginning, and parents understand the need of the English. So it was an interesting process in Ukrainian culture, decommunization. You know, after the 2014, after all these events happening in Maidan in Ukraine, there was a decommunization law adopted. So the monuments of the communist regime was demounted, and many streets and even cities were renamed because they were named in communist names. So it's a good thing. Books and reading. So you see that. Do we like reading? Most of the Ukrainians sometimes want to read something. But I think people are reading, really, because people like good books. They don't read the paper one, mostly they prefer to read from electronic devices, but they read. And interesting thing that we have some big books exhibitions, and one of them Arsenal. It was. It has an award from International Excellence Awards in London. It's really good book event. Unfortunately, we can't present Urantia Book there yet, but maybe next time. Another event in Lviv. So. Another interesting reform in education is a reform of Ukrainian school that happened recently. It's a movement towards a better understanding of pupils, to give them more rights, to give them more, to inspire them to learn. It is a big deal for schools. I know because my wife worked in education, and old teachers were not removed, but new teachers came to teach the children, and we're quite optimistic on this school reform. So, value of women. So, yes, we have domestic violence. In Ukraine, women still get a smaller salary, and they have still a minority in power. But the situation is changing because we have a strong, as far as I know, we have a strong movement of different non-governmental organizations in Ukraine. Many European countries and United States as well, they have a program of investing to other countries, like democracy development. So if you have organization in Ukraine, you can gain a grant from another state, something, and you can do something. So my wife involved in this movement, but on ecological projects, but I know that many organizations do good programs for increasing the value of women and human rights and gender equality. So the big work right now is doing. So yes, women still limited in career, and also the hostages of stereotypes. This is like we have a fight with sexism. Yes, because I know that many friends of mine, many young people, they start to think about this. That many words might mean different, might have different meanings for the woman and for the man. So you should be careful with words. Yes, philosophy and in Ukrainian culture. So, what I can tell about the philosophy, I don't have much to tell. I knew that we have some interesting philosophers in Ukraine. They try to present lectures. Recently, in my work, in the company where I work, it is a cultural project. It is a big IT company, and we have a cultural project inside this. So after work hours, you can stay and you can go to this event. And they invited some philosopher, and we have lectures of philosophy for IT sector, IT programmers. It was very interesting. I was there once, unfortunately only on one lecture, but it was very good event. And I know that such kind of events are happening somewhere in Kiev and in other cities. So it is a photo of advertising. It is for the conquest for philosophic startups. So if you are a student, you can write some paper and apply, and maybe you will win some prize. It's like philosophy startup. I don't know exactly what this means, but I think it is an interesting event for students to attain. So the value of family. Yes. Family is very important for Ukrainians. Many young people understand this, and as far as I can see, young people try to develop healthy relations inside the couple, try to follow the good pattern. We have a progressive part of our society, but also we have different problems in ordinary families. So yes, you can see the answer to the question for Ukrainians: what would you like to achieve most in life? Is the family happiness. So it is really important for the people. Leisure time. What Ukrainians do? Usually, they prefer to watch TV. It's a truth. Yes, they prefer to watch TV. Prefer to play the computer games. But they prefer also to go for some events, especially young people. But older people want to spend their time in the garden. You know, this we have a place where they can grow vegetables, and it is still widespread to go there and grow something. So about the culture. I have some interesting to tell you in my papers, but I lost it. Is I'm sorry. Let's move further, and then I'll better answer the questions. Yeah. So the last one is about the Urantia book. So this is a picture that actually illustrates the difference of how Ukrainians what they think about the Western warriors. You know, this is a map of results of elections, previous presidential elections, because I don't have. It's a picture that I have in my mind, and I want to show you. Our country is. It's not a splitted, but the preferences of a spread. So in Western Ukraine, we have more people that it is a part that closer to European Union and to Poland. So people here usually go there and back, go to the work to Poland and other countries and come back. So here we have more Western loyal people, more Western loyalty. And in other regions it is closer to Russia, so we have less loyal to Western rulers people. This is how I see that, but this may be different. But in these presidential elections, clearly you can see the difference between how people react, how people vote. It is votes, for example, for Viktor Yanukovych in previous presidential elections, and this Viktor Yushchenko. You know, it was a tensions between these presidents, and most of the, I believe, more progressive Ukrainians who think in a more democratic way, they understand that this one will bring us closer to Europe, closer to democratic values. So you can see actually the meaning of this slide. I want to show you that we tend to accept Western values more in this part of Ukraine. So, but in general, Ukraine is West-oriented. So it is another question: which way should Ukraine choose, joining to European Union or to the Russian? You see that most of the population want to go to the European scenes. Okay, so closer to the work that's been done with the Urantia book in Ukraine. This is our first successful attempt to get the books from the Urantia Association, and we got this palette, I guess 5 years before. This is Andrew from Lviv, and this is a driver. Lucky guy. Yes. I don't know, maybe he became a believer and reader, but it's just a driver. Yes. So what interesting been done in Ukraine with the books? Thanks for the quiz and for Urantia Foundation. We got some money for advertising project. It was interesting for me to advertise Urantia Book. So we print some posters, and the posters was in bookstores. I guess maybe 10 bookstores around the country in different cities, and such thing was done in one shop, in one main shop. And also the advertising in Metro was published for 2 months, I guess. There was a small advertising, but it is hard to say how many people became readers. I don't know. But I think this kind of advertising must work for a greater period of time, for at least maybe half of a year, 6 months. It was good. It is a Ukrainian association website. It's not so good as Gaitan wanted to be, but it works. And we had an advertising here, the link by Urantia Book, and people was calling to me, and I was sending the books to them directly. Ukraine, we have a good opportunity to send the books in Ukraine, and we have a good post service, and it's not a problem for me to for a person who is doing this to send the books. So at the bookstores, here how it was. Right now we don't have books in the bookstores because it was challenging for me to work with this bookstore network, because you need to manage everything. You need to manage how much books they have, when they should pay, whether they send a report to you or not. It was really challenging, and after all, I guess they don't pay for some books, for 5 many books, maybe. So I was even like fighting with them. I go and meet the director and said, "You must pay because," and they said, "We have hard times, we can pay." It was challenging. So I don't know. I don't want to have a business with them anymore. It's hard. So book fairs, we have some interesting experience to speak with people. And yes, book acceptance. I already told to you that people are afraid to be the part of some kind of sect, so they're afraid something new in religion. And I think it is people who read Bible, believers, they believe that Holy Bible is only one holy book. So it is a challenge for them to accept the Urantia Book because of these 2 things in Ukraine, as I see this. So how we can introduce? Yes, actually my view is that it's so cool that here in Chicago you have a place where readers can meet. Right now in Kiev we don't have such space, but from the other side we don't have much readers in Kiev. But anyway, I think the space where we can meet is very important, because I live in apartments, I live in a flat. I don't have a space to host a study group, and other readers that I know in Kiev, they don't have a chance to do this as well. And it's a challenging to meet somewhere in cafe, at least for me. But maybe maybe it's only my opinion, and maybe we'll start and find something, but definitely need to do something in order to gain new readers. Yes, local place, something like this. I already finished. We have only one readers group in Ukraine, stable. It is in Berdyansk city. 5-7 readers. It's a man who hosts them, Alexander. So I want to tell you about two interesting communities in Ukraine who spread Urantia Book as well. It's a community like a courses, like Lee said, spiritual courses, and most of the students is a woman. So you see that trainer is a woman as well. They have a sign on the website in Facebook. So she teach how to gain, spiritual health, body health, and all this. It is a good thing that she teach, but there is kind of problem with this, as I can see, because they actually don't don't study the Urantia book. The Urantia book for this for them is like additional reading material, so they don't go deeply into the studying. I was once with them. They invited me to make a presentation. So it's a good people, but it's not a readers group. And this is another kind of spiritual courses in Ukraine. This is one that I actually find the Urantia book. It is a teacher who present his course about the soul, about the development of the soul. His name is Grigory, and he's a good guy. Yeah. Before he starts his teachings, he usually tells about the Urantia book. He tells where we live, it's a paradise, and then I guess he suggests the Urantia book to read for the people, but he don't interpret it in his way. He only suggests and give it to them and present his own course. So this is the way that I've got the book from him. Yes, my hero. So Urantia film, and Richard is my hero because it's a really good way to promote Urantia book. I'm telling you this because of interesting thing. Maybe 4 years before, I was sitting on my apartment. It was a late night, and I was thinking, what can I do? Like something good for Urantia book development. And I had a camera, and I put the camera and make some video. I just followed, I don't know, my inner desire. I was saying something about the book, how I feel, my attitude to the book, and then I published the video at YouTube, and I forgot about this video. So I'm sorry, I will finish with this. And right now this video is at the 6th position, I guess, on YouTube at the request Kniga Urantia. So if you go and search Kniga Urantia on YouTube, you'll find my video at the 6th place. Yes.
The name? Putting your name?
No, Kniga Urantia. It's in Russian, or Urantia book in Russian. So, and this shows to me that people need to have some videos, some other person with whom they can see real person. Yes, I'll finish. So this is my dream, to have a place, Urantia Cafe, and translate it to Ukraine, Urantia Book. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sure you're all bubbling with questions. So we have a little bit of time left. Let's ask the questions.
Do you want to stop sharing, Anton?
Yes.
Anton, thank you for your how much to be part of the book sale. How much is one stand will cost you?
It depends. We have a big exhibition and small exhibitions in Ukraine. It was, I don't know, maybe $20 in a small exhibition
$20
for 2 days.
2 days, $20.
Yes, it's a small place. Not so much. But in a big exhibitions, it might be, I don't know, twice more.
So, do you have a? You said you had a study group, right?
Only one study group, and I'm not attending it.
Oh, you're not leading it.
I'm not leading any
Oh,
study
okay.
group right now.
Okay. But there is a study group there.
Yes, one, and we have another study group for Russian-speaking readers. Anyone can join. It's a group in internet by Skype. Each Saturday at 10 o'clock by Kyiv time, we have a call and discuss Urantia book, read it. Yes, it's a stable group. You can join if you speak Russian.
Yeah, so far, I see that for Asia, and that is mainly Buddhists on Asia, and China have little interest on Urantia book. Maybe Muslim countries like us maybe too afraid to study this book. But I see this development that also in the post-Christian opportunity, there is opportunity also, the post-Christian countries. But this is in the Catholic and Orthodox. I think like you have opportunity to grow also. But why? They can allow this happen. Yes, but why you can grow in Catholic or Orthodox domination? Yes.
Why they grow? Why the church grow?
Yes, and why the church can let you go? Can let you grow without?
Let Urantia book.
Yes.
I think nobody cares because Ukraine. You can do what you want with religion in Ukraine. I mean, as far as you don't push somebody, you don't hurt anybody, you can promote wherever you want. But it's the same like in Lebanon. Yes, that I will look like strange person if I start promoting it too fast. But we can do this, yeah. And in exhibitions, many people spoke with us, and yes, people want to buy the book. Yes, many people bought the book. It's not a problem. Nobody oppressing us.
Why they are interested?
Why they interested in? Excuse me, I don't understand the question.
Why the Orthodox or Catholic people are interested in this book?
They maybe I said something that you don't understand, but I don't say that they are interested in this book. The first part of my presentation was about Orthodox, so we don't speak with Orthodox priests yet about the book. We don't have communication. We don't present the book to the priests yet. Maybe later.
Anton, previously you said that right now you don't have time to take care about the distribution of the book, but is it available?
The distribution of the book right now is done by the Andrew. You remember his picture, but he's not doing advertising right now. So when I come back, I'll take some books and I'll do what I can as well. Yes.
You also have an association?
We have readers there in different cities.
Okay, but
association is not working.
It's not working
right now because don't have people who can do.
No leadership.
No leadership. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Thank you. So the folks who come and buy the books, do they tell you what their religious orientation is or why they're interested in the book?
Do you remember this this woman and this the courses I was telling you? She suggests her students to buy a book, and the bigger part, I guess, the one half of all sales was the students of this lady. So she doing well for selling. Yes, for promoting. I'm not sure that they will become readers right now. Maybe later, after they go through some way. Yes, but most of the people who buy a book, they buy because of their esoteric background. Yes, so we have many local stores, esoteric stores in different cities, and people usually go there and find some books, and then they find Urantia Book. It's the way I was going, and many people I know.
Do they have easy access to internet? Because you said you don't have a place to meet, but you could meet online with other readers.
Yes,
it's easy access in Ukraine?
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
We can meet online, but everybody has their own life, and usually.
So Anton, thank you. Can you give us a little bit of an explanation of how long you had the translation to Ukraine, and then what happened with the books? I mean, how did you print them, and how long was this? What's the timeline?
No, we don't have a completed translation yet to Ukrainian. It's only my dream. But we moved some parts because we have a translator, and she's a woman. She lives in Toronto. She's name is Oksana, and she is working on translation. She already translated first 2 parts, as far as I know, and Andrew is helping her. So they're working on translation. But I don't know when it can be finished, and moreover, we need a professional corrector for this.
So those books were in Russian?
Yes, yes, we read it in Russian. In Ukraine, we read Urantia Book in Russian.
So when did you get the shipping of books, and how long have you had them? And so how you advertised for a few months, 2 months or 3 months, and then you found this lady. How long what's the timeline? How long this has been going on?
To get the books. To get the books.
Since you got the books, and then the lady, and
you mean how they selling the books? Yes.
if you can explain the timeline. Okay, you got the books when? 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Okay.
And then what happened after that, and what happened with the advertising?
I don't remember exact year. I should check, but we got the books maybe 5 years ago, and start distributing them. We already sold maybe 500 of books for the 5 years, 2 pallets, and we have another party already in Ukraine, so we are selling them one by one. Yes, actually the process is that I have a supply in my place. Andrew has a supply in his place, and reader Skalin, I'm asking him or she what is your address, and then we ship the book to him or to she. So it's a process.
And how many books did you sell through the stores?
Not so much. So we sell more directly, more than through the stores. And when we sell through the stores, we can't control. We can't establish a personal contact. I mean, when I sell the books directly, after they call me by a phone, they knew my phone. I have a conversation. I can ask the person, "How are you? What do you do?" Maybe you need, I don't know. Sometimes they want to buy it with a lower price, so we can talk about this. But when you sell through the bookstores network, you only have higher price because you need to pay to this network, and it's not so clear. So it's better to sell them directly. But you have to donate your time or have a manager to do this.
In the stores, people go to the stores. You said there's esoteric stores. They're looking for something. How do they get to you?
Right now, situation is in esoteric stores, they don't have books in Ukraine. If they have, they might have the books that is imported from Russia, and the price of this book is I don't know, maybe 5 times more. It's a very big price if you want to find it in some store, because I don't supply the books to the stores right now. So in the stores they have a book by a very high price. That's it. I was trying to work with a bookstores network. It was done officially. So I signed the contract between my entrepreneur, me as entrepreneur, and them as official document. So then I provide the books to them. But in a case of small esoterical stores, I can work like this simple way. I can give them books and they sell and then give me money back. Or I can simply sell them a book and then they can do whatever they want price can put. So it's a personal relationship. For example, if I have some person that inside this magazine, I can deal with him and ask to talk with readers.
How do people, now that you don't have books in stores, how do people find you? to ask? Ah, okay.
Yes, through the website and another. I have a catalog. Yes. Through the internet, yes, it's a better way.
It's okay. Any other burning?
Last question. Okay. I just wanted to know how many people are speaking Russian in Ukraine and also Ukrainian.
Yes.
So what is the proportion, or does everybody speaks Russian and can read the book in Russian? Or?
Everybody speaks Russian, so
Okay.
they can.
That's why you have both Ukrainian and Russian
Yes,
book on
yes.
the market.
We can understand Russian, no problem. But most of the population speak Ukrainian.
Do you read the book in Russian yourself?
Yes,
And
yes.
do you see a difference?
Between English and
No, between Ukrainian and Russian.
we don't have Ukrainian
Oh,
translation
you don't
yet.
have it, okay. You only have the...
One last question.
Yeah, I don't believe that Hank is here right now, but he's, oh, is he coming? Okay, anyway, well, he's Urantia Foundation's, of course you know that, distributor in Europe, or our representative in Europe, and he's had quite a few experiences with trying to get the book into Russia and many other places, and it might be helpful to share some of them, but what I think I know this. One of the things that he's found is most helpful is going within a network. That, you know, it is the best if there can be a network of bookstores or whatever means your country uses, because that's going to be easiest to manage and to get your money back. We have lost so much money in Russia. I will say to you right now, he could probably give us our losses. Our books were at one point destroyed by fire. It is, you represented the problem so well, is to get money from someone you've given a book to at a bookstore is virtually impossible when you go one-on-one. So it's, if you're thinking about trying that kind of a methodology, I think we've got some people who could give some advice about going in that direction. And you've tried many different ways. Distribution in Russia is just not easy.
Okay, thanks, Anton. It was a great presentation. Appreciate it.